Hello, second grade artists. Let's talk about finishing up our prehistoric landscapes. So your first job is going to be to finish any dinosaurs that you want to make for your landscape. You can make more if you'd like to. Remember, you only need one big and one small. So finish those first. The next direction is going to be to color in this white space of your volcanoes. I'm going to use a brown colored pencil to do that and just color in. I'm going to make this side a little bit darker, so I'm pushing a little bit harder. And then as I go towards the other side, I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. I was thinking that because the moon is over here, maybe a little bit of light is shining from the moon on my volcano, and that's why it's lighter on this side. So to do that with a crayon or colored pencil, you need to just draw lightly with a light pressure, push gentle or push hard if you want it to get darker. So you could do that with crayon or colored pencil. It really could be whatever color you would like to make it. After you color the volcano, if you want to, I think I'm going to add a bright moon. So I am choosing to color in my moon with this really bright highlighter. You can color it any color you want, or maybe just leave it white if that is what you would like to do. So now this part of my art is done. I'm going to cut out and glue on my dinosaurs next. So these are tricky shapes to cut out, so be careful not to accidentally cut off a dinosaur's horn or nose or whatever. Something that helps me is to keep my scissors hand still, and then my other hand kind of holds the paper to turn it to help cut out this difficult shape. Something else I like to do is kind of cut a bubble around my dinosaur. You can see there's still some white parts around him. So I'm going to leave those first, and then it's easier to cut them off later as little tiny pieces instead of trying to make my hand twist and turn that dinosaur all crazy to make it get cut out right away. One more little tiny shape to cut out. I am going to pause my video so that I can cut out my T-Rex, and then we'll talk about the next direction. All right, now I have my dinosaurs cut out, and we're going to glue them into our background. Remember, the smallest dinosaurs are going to go higher up on the paper because if something looks smaller, that means it's farther away. So I'm going to use liquid glue. Hopefully you can hear it's breathing, ready to work. I don't want to put a big puddle of glue on this. I just need a little bit of glue. So I am putting many dots, but they are tiny dots. So my T-Rex, I think I want him to live right here. And I'll press to make sure he really stays down. And then my Triceratops is going to live a little bit higher up. If you have a super tiny dinosaur, he might even live all the way back here next to the volcanoes. So I put my two dinosaurs on my paper. Now let's talk about creating something that's even closer to us than our dinosaurs. We're going to make some leaf shapes. So you have these two big pieces of paper. I'm going to show you an idea for how you can make some leaves that are going to be very, very close in the foreground of our art. So if you want to, you could draw a shape that's kind of like an eyeball on this paper. I folded my green paper in half like a little book because then I only have to cut one time and I'm going to end up with two shapes. So first I'm making these kind of like green eyeballs. So now I have two big green ones. And then this one I think I'm going to make some just a little smaller. So instead of folding it one time in half, I'm going to fold it two times in half. So this shape is going to be a little bit smaller than my darker green shape. All right, let's get rid of all that leftover. I'm keeping this all stacked together as one piece. So there's 4 leaves in there, but I'm keeping it all together so that I can cut through all of it at once to make my job a little easier. So I'll draw some lines where I'm going to cut just to show you. So I'm going to cut some kind of like little triangles out of this leaf. So I kind of drew like a lightning bolt on each side. You don't have to do it exactly like me, but I don't want to cut too many triangles or that's going to take me way too long and it's going to be a big old mess. So we'll just cut out a couple of triangles from each side. You could draw them first, or if you feel like you know what shape you want to do, you don't need to draw them first. You could just start cutting. So I cut some triangles out of the side. So now my leaf shape kind of has these little points on it. I think maybe I need one more down here. And I'm going to do the same thing to my other green leaves. Let's stack those back up together so I only have to cut out through these one time, and I'm cutting kind of up and then a little bit straighter line. Let's turn it over and do the other side. Cut out a little triangle. So now I have these really cool big leaves. Okay, so these leaves are going to be all the way at the bottom, and these are going to be like the closest thing to us. So I'm going to first kind of like plan where I want my leaves to go because I don't want to cover up those cool dinosaurs I made. So I don't know if I'm going to use all of these, but I do like to have some. So mine are sort of on the bottoms of my paper, and I am going to use my glue now to attach these. So I'm going to scooch this off of my paper, and then let's just put a little liquid glue down at the bottom of this, because I think I want the top to be kind of loose. So some of this is going on the red paper. Let's put a little glue on that, and we're going to overlap them a little bit. I kind of like when it overlaps the dinosaur just a little bit. So then it's like I'm peeking through the leaves and watching this cool prehistoric scene happening. Put that one a little higher, I think, because that's what I want to do with mine. Now let's finish up and glue these other leaves on. So again, I'm just putting a little bit on the bottom, and then let's see, maybe this guy will be super low. So now I have my foreground, which is really these big leaves that are super close to me. And then my T-Rex is closest. And then my Triceratops is a little farther away. I am going to add a couple lines on these now. And my finishing details. So I'm going to go grab some crayons or oil pastels, if you have them, to add a couple more things to my prehistoric landscape. All right, artist finishing touches time. So I just grabbed a couple of crayons. I am going to add, with a hard pressure, just a couple kind of like cool prehistoric trees in the background. Maybe even you have some leftover little green pieces and you want to put a little puddle of blue and sort of use those for your prehistoric trees back there. Or you could always draw them too. I'll do one that I draw in. And for your crayons to show up on top of your chalk, you do have to push kind of hard, which is fine. You can do it. So now I have some prehistoric trees in the background. Maybe you want to draw kind of like a boulder, like a big rock. I think I might want to add a little bit of different color to that one. Maybe you have you made the dinosaur that's in a nest. Maybe you have a little nest over here with some dinosaur eggs in it. Maybe if you made your nest really big, then it's going to be up in the very front. So maybe you have a different plan happening, but I don't want to add any more, otherwise there's going to be too many things. So this is my finished prehistoric art. I'm just going to sign my name at the bottom. And now it is ready to dry and take home to show it off.